I bet a lot of the people listening to our podcast here are really great at that. You listening, you're probably really great at having conversations with people, making them comfortable, probably to the point where they're so comfortable, they leave the open house and you're just like, I forgot to grab some contact info. Now I'm never going to see that person ever again. We built this beautiful relationship. Like, gosh, we had so much fun. They asked me questions. I learned about what they're doing today. I learned about their kids. I learned about the trip they took to Europe last year. I don't have a way to talk to them again.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll call me.
Welcome back to Life at 10 Tenths, where we coach real estate agents out of burnout into high-performing businesses that fuel their lives. I've got my friend Matt Benelli with me. Matt, good morning. Good welcome, sir. How's your day going?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Day's going great, man. We just had some fun. At the time of this being released, everybody will have heard our April 1st podcast, which was really exciting. It was great to have Brandon Buffoni on. It was a lot of fun. I can't believe we got him booked. I mean, gosh, I thought we would get booked Tony Robbins before we booked him.
I know he is a tough one to get your hands on, and grateful for his time and his energy that he was able to share with us. Jumping into this right away, if anybody's tuning in right now and you're going, okay, figuring out about Life at 10 Tenths, love these guys, Matt and Garrett, love the information they're putting out. If you want to be a bigger part of the world that we have created, we have our 10 Tenths community inside there. We have daily information that we give out all the time. If you subscribe to our inside track, we also have group coaching in there, which is the 11 Circle, which I'd love to have you be a part of. And we also do one-on-one coaching. Matt and I work one-on-one with people to help them build the most amazing businesses that align with their life. And if that sounds like something you would like to have in your world, come talk with us. We'll do a free consultation. We'll give you a tour. We'll show you everything you need to see so you can be like, all right, these guys are the real deal and they're showing me the right stuff. With that being said, let's get into our topic today. We have open houses have come back on the scene, and I have agents that I'm coaching and people that I'm working with that are going, maybe I should be doing open houses because so-and-so in my office went out and did one, and they talked to all these people. They had 40 people come through the door over the weekend. And I'm finding people that are starting to lean into it, Matt, and they are doing the open houses, and they're going, whoa, like I got so many people through that they're then saying, well, what if I did 2 in one day? What if I did this listing over here and then I ran over to this one? Because it's so powerful right now. And I do think there's a great opportunity here. I also think if not handled correctly, you can feel like you're doing a lot of great realtor activities, and really what you should have been doing is spending time on the weekend with your kids because you're not actually converting in anything and you're not doing the right stuff with it. So Matt,
yeah,
you ready?
I am ready. And I wish somebody had helped me develop a comprehensive open house strategy when I was an agent, because I sat in a lot of houses. I met a lot of people. I tried to get the sign-ins, and then I'm like, what am I going to do afterwards? And I even did develop some follow-up, email and text strategies, but it was never really great until we sat down and really started to understand, well, what is the psychology of the people who are coming into these homes, and what are they looking to solve, and how can we be of value and of service instead of how can I get a client out of this, which funny when you flip it around, Garrett, and we really focus on what's the value that I can deliver to this individual right here, you actually get more appointments, more relationships, and more clients and closings out of those open houses than if we actually purposefully, Garrett, create these walls ourselves at open houses, and we don't even know it.
Well, we've all been, even if you're a licensed realtor, you have been in a neighborhood, you've been traveling, you've been on vacation, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, an open house. Like, wouldn't it be cool to go in and see that? And we walk in and we run away from the agent, and you can see the agent who's like, the realtor is like on them, like trying to figure out like, how can I connect with this person? Did you sign into the book? Make sure you sign into the book. All these things, instead of actively trying just to lightly make a connection, lightly start conversation, lightly engage, it turns into this thing. And it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for the clients, and they're just trying to get in now, take a look at the house, and get out and get back to their car as fast as possible. And that would be the first thing I'd want to think about, Matt, is how can I reduce the uncomfortableness for someone who really just wants to dream a little bit. They want to think outside the box. They want to go, what if? Or they're just trying to, maybe their neighbor down the street going like, I've always wanted to see inside this neighbor's house and I'm just curious and I want to be attacked. How do we lower that wall a little bit? How do we make it a little bit easier? Because the ones that I find that do turn open houses into magic, they are really good at making sure that wall doesn't show up.
Absolutely. And it all starts with preparation. I think most agents are not prepared for their open houses. And I don't mean you got the signs out, you have the information about the house, you know the square footage. Like, yes, you should know that stuff. What I mean in preparation is preparing for the kinds of people that are going to come through that house and have value ready when that time comes. If a neighbor is going to walk down the street, having information about the house is not really valuable to them. Having information about area market stats might be valuable to them. If you have a buyer walking in who has young children, having information about the house is probably not, in fact, having information about the house is probably the lowest value because they might already actually know all that stuff, which is why they're there. Right. Information about the school districts, information about processes, having ways where you can have information either ready or you just know that you could share this stuff afterwards so that you can actually drive a comfortable conversation, Garrett, instead of a, hi, welcome to 123 Main Street. Are you looking for a 3-bedroom home today? Is that why you're here? Right? It's like, no, that's going to create an uncomfortableness that we don't want to go to.
Well, and I think this goes back to we want to talk about the house. That's the whole thing. We want to talk about the house, showcase the house. That's what we're here because these are usually it's the home that you have listed. You're representing your clients in the act of selling this house. And so we're here putting this big performance on where one thing we need to understand, the likelihood of a person walking through that day and buying that house is really low. Does it happen? Yes. Are there people listening right now going like, Garrett, I sold a house last week through an open, I get it. But for most people who are driving through and looking at open houses, they're seeing signs, they're driving up, they don't know how many bedrooms it has, they don't know how many bathrooms it has. Maybe they sat out in front and looked it up online real quick because they have that technology in their pockets to be able to do that now. So they have the stats, they have the data. So really your number one thing when they come in is to see if you can engage with them. And it's funny, Matt, I was having a conversation with somebody just recently about the skills and things I learned when I was younger on a car lot. I used to sell cars. I've said this many times to people before. And when people walk onto a car lot, you can repel people really fast. And the number one goal of a good salesperson on a car lot is how do we engage in this very little window that we have? And usually it's not talking about cars. It's usually talking about what else they've got going on that weekend. What are they doing earlier today? What did they got planned for the rest of the day? And all of a sudden, by learning more about who they are, what their environment is, where they're at, all of a sudden their defenses start to drop down. And then you can start to figure out the diagnostic stuff about so do you guys currently live here close by? Are you looking for something different? Are you trying to move up? Are you trying to downsize a little bit? Where are you at with a home? You can get to that stuff, but you've got to break through the tough candy shell first. Yeah. Once you get through that, then you can start having these conversations. But you start too early, you just push people away.
Well, we go straight to direct questions, which I don't think you need to do right there at the open house, particularly in the beginning. Starting with, what brings you in today is a great question, right? Hey, what led you to this house today?
Yep.
Like you said, what are you guys doing afterwards? Doing anything fun in the area? If you know of an event that's happening locally, hey, you guys heading down to the fair later on today? Really keeping it open-ended, giving the client the opportunity to kind of set the stage for themselves because they're walking into this situation. I don't know if I really want to work with a realtor. I don't, how do I handle this? And then we set these walls up, Garrett, too, like we were saying, where we force a sign-in, which I get sign-ins. There's security reasons and all this stuff, and everybody has a process. So I'm not here to say whether you should or should not have a sign-in sheet. My preference is I would probably have one just because I think it's a security thing. I think it's helpful,
Yep.
but I wouldn't use it as, oh, this is how I'm going to get their information. I just use it to understand, hey, here's the people that came through the house. Everybody has Ring cameras now, though, so I guess you could kind of use that as your sign in. In a way, we'll just have the biometric scan you on the way in.
Oh, geez. Can I get your
But we
thumbprint?
ask these questions of like, are you working with a realtor? And which, by the way, never ask that question at an open house. And a lot of people are going to be like, what?
Yeah.
Code of ethics? Like, no, we're not trying to steal people's clients. You're putting people in an uncomfortable position because they may want you to think they have a realtor. And now when they say yes, like, where do you go from there? Do you say, well, who's your realtor? Well, what if they didn't actually have one? Do they have to make up a name? Also, what does that mean for the rest of their tour of the open house? Does it make it uncomfortable because you're like, oh, they're not a lead, I'm going to go over here, but now they have questions?
So my feeling about that, are you working with a realtor? Do you have a realtor? Or, my number one place I'm going to answer that with is, yes, I do have a realtor.
Yeah.
And I actually know multiple realtors in my town. And there's a good chance I would work with any one of them. The other likelihood is they don't know that I'm even standing in that open house. I haven't even talked to them about I'm thinking about maybe buying in the future. I have not signed any agreements. I have not done anything at all. And all of a sudden we put this wall up of, do you have a realtor or do you know a realtor? And all of a sudden I go, yes. And you're like, all right, I guess I can't work with them now. And I can't answer any questions because now I am violating. This is the part that I say is, if you can leave that door open. There's a place, Matt, you said this beautifully when we were talking before. And you said, here's some information on the house as they're leaving. You've had a chance to have a really nice conversation with them. This is something you can share with your realtor or you guys can use for yourself, or, hey, if you want, automatically assume as they're leaving after you've had that great conversation, that great interaction, and now they have something they can take. And yeah, if they have a realtor, they can take it to them. And they might at that point in time go, oh, we're not actually working with anybody.
Well, and I would even argue, I would only propose that if they said, because sometimes people come in and be like, oh, no, we're working with a realtor. Great, fantastic. Let's break it down for a second here. Back up. People come in, you ask them if they have a realtor. We know what they're going to say. You just said it. They're going to say yes, right? And here's the thing. We're not trying to skirt around it because they will let you know if they are. That is between them and their buyer's agent if they sign an agreement, or if they're listing their house, their listing agent. That's between them and their agent, not between them and you. Your job is to add value. They are a guest in your open house.
Yep.
Your mission is to create a ton of value for them so that they leave better off than they came in. And you're going to be better at that role if you don't put up walls for yourself, like asking someone if they have a realtor. They'll tell you. You can put it on your sign-in sheet if you want. I probably wouldn't. But if it comes up, yes, when it comes time to share value, would it be best if I, sent this to you or to your realtor, right? If they haven't mentioned a realtor, then, hey, I would love to send this to you. Would you find this helpful? And Garrett, we can talk about what those value pieces might look like and how you'd want to deliver them. But I think that asking that question up front creates this barrier that slows down and prevents you from being able to create value for that person while they're in that home. And if they are working with a realtor and they mention it, your mission is still to add a ton of value and leave that person exiting better off than they came in. And then you can follow up with their agent if they shared the info, or like you said, hey, would you like me to send this to you or to your realtor? And if they say, oh, you can just send it to me, great, send it to them. If they say, oh, you can send to my realtor, great, give me their email and I'll send it to them. Either way, you are adding that value, which you're going to leave happier at the end of it.
Well, and at the end of the day, your whole goal is to connect with these people. Like, you have this small window here, and we think it's the selling of the home, or being able to maybe help them buy a home in the future. And I hate to say, none of those things are possible with that client if they feel uncomfortable. Yep. And one of your first and foremost pieces is to say, how can I bridge a comfort level with this person, a connection with this person, so that they will talk to me, so that they are open with me, so they will share with me. Because until you can cross that bridge, you really have got nothing you're working with. And we all know it. When you have that person where that wall goes up and all of a sudden you're butting up against it, it's almost impossible to get back from that. That is their first interpretation of who you are. I got a chance to meet Matt Benelli, walked into this house, and instantly I'm going, how do I get away from Matt Benelli? That is the first impression that they have of you, and to recover from that later is really tough. So your whole thing is to say, how can I open up this door, make it very, very, very comfortable with them, make a strong start to a relationship, because that's where the dialogue is all going to come from. Comfort, and we're seeing it a lot in today's world, the more that relationship is there, the more they'll share. People are turning to the people they're comfortable with right now more than any time I have ever seen in our industry. They don't want to be sold. They don't want to be chased. They don't want to be made uncomfortable. They don't want to be put in weird positions. They just want to be able to move forward through life, and we got to make it as easy as possible for them.
Yeah. And Garrett, I bet a lot of the people listening to our podcast here are really great at that. You listening, you're probably really great at having conversations with people, making them comfortable, probably to the point where they're so comfortable, they leave the open house and you're just like, I forgot to grab some contact info. Now I'm never going to see that person ever again. We built this beautiful relationship. Like, gosh, we had so much fun. They asked me questions. I learned about what they're doing today. I learned about their kids. I learned about the trip they took to Europe last year. I don't have a way to talk to them again.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll call me, right?
Maybe.
That's what we bank on. Maybe they will reach out. And I'm sorry to say that most people probably will not, right? Some people may, which I do think is a good reason to have some sort of collateral there that people can take with them, because some people might call you. They might be like, Garrett, gosh, I had thank you so much for your help the other day. Like, that was great. We're actually thinking of buying a house. Can you help us? So how do we get some information so we can continue this relationship?
Well, and so real quick, I've done a lot of open houses, and very rarely does somebody go like, oh, you're the agent that we met at the open house, and I was curious if I could ask you some more questions.
Yeah.
Usually if they're out looking at open homes, they talk to a whole bunch of real estate agents, and
Wait, was it Garrett or was it Matt or was it, Susan at the other house who was so nice? I don't remember which one.
Exactly. Never going to happen. So I think, let's have some strategies here right now, Matt. So I'll share a strategy that I found years ago that works really well. And I've seen people, put it into their process and it works. So first off, you have to have the mentality of, my number one goal at an open house is actually to schedule appointments for the future with the people that are coming in. And what was taught to me was that, one, you have to imagine that every single buyer that's coming to see the open house typically has to sell something to be able to buy. Most people need to sell to be able to buy. There's a nice selection of people out there that have extra cash parked away, and they're comfortable enough that they're like, we could handle 2 mortgage payments. We can buy this and then sell our house.
Or they want to sell to buy too. Even if they can buy without selling,
100%.
They still want to sell.
Yeah. So they've got this house over here that hasn't even been addressed, but here we are talking to them about the potentials of buying. And one of the best things you can do is to figure out about the house they're currently living in right now. How long have you lived there for? Tell me a little bit about what made you buy that house. Learn some stuff about where they're currently living right now and about what that environment is. What's made that house not be the right house for you anymore? What's even gotten you to finding this place of wanting to go and look and see and dream a little bit? A great spot to go to is, has anybody recently give you an evaluation on your property? Has anybody walked through it and said, this is probably where your home kind of stands right now? I have found more often than not, when somebody's in this dream state, they're kind of picturing what this can be at over here. This is the unknown to the equation. What could we get to our house? Are we looking outside of our price range? To be able to come out of that with almost a net sheet to be like, if you were to sell for this, breaking everything down, this is the actual cash you'd have in hand to be able to make your next purchase. These are things you can offer to them. You can go and do this. And the best part is to say, would that be of value to you? Has anybody ever done that? Would that be of value? And I have found, if you do an open house, leave 2 hours open after your open house. It's still open house time, by the way. Just assume that I got my open house time, and then part of my open house is these 2 hours afterwards. And if you can use those 2 hours to set appointments in, to go to these people's homes, walk in, look around, do a market impact report for them on that property, gather information, there is something powerful also, Matt, about being able to step into somebody's environment. Being able to be invited into their environment is huge. And so whether you're scheduling it for 2 hours after or you're scheduling it for next week, one of your number one things to be is if it's a successful open house is how many appointments was I able to make for later on. And that is something I tell people, strive for that. Strive for
Huge. And it's not you just, hey, can I come see your house?
I'd love to see what you've done with the place since you've owned it.
Yeah. But you brought up some great things like, hey, has anybody given you a valuation on your home? Has anybody talked to you or helped you create a strategy around, moving from one to the other? Those are great conversations, Garrett. And I think a lot of people don't even think about that it's possible to have an appointment after an open house. Some people are like, wait, is that even really possible? Yes. It is possible. And if you need to believe that in order for it to be an opportunity for you too. I think a lot of people don't even plan. They're like, nope, it's 3:55. I'm going to tighten this thing up and I'm going to go watch the game, right? Versus 3:55, I got an appointment that I'm going to make at 4:30. And we're going to go get another listing today.
And just to add one more thing into that appointment, you can add into a lot of people don't know what they need to do to get the house ready for sale before they can actually make that next purchase. And that's another piece of value I can add is I'll walk through the house with you and tell you the things that you probably need to adjust and make changes to. It's like my mom just called me. She's thinking about what if I sell, what if I stay? And one of her things is that I know there's the seals are popped on 2 windows in the back. Is that something I need to do before I would sell the house? Yeah, you want to get those windows replaced. Well, how about this over here? Is that something I should worry about? And I'm like, no, don't worry about that at all. That's totally fine. You're opening up a can of worms if you were actually to get into, let's say, redoing the hardwood floors. So there's a chance of being able to walk through a house and go, this is your kind of a checklist I can make for you to show you things you might want to start working on now if the goal is to put the home on the market in 6 months.
I love it.
Give them some advice.
You're adding value. You're helping walk somebody through a process. So the thing that I would look to do, Garrett, that's a great option. Here's another option that I think, or another thing that people should be thinking about when hosting open houses, which is intentional follow-up, right? So there's a lot of preparation that goes into this. First, having a multi-touch point follow-up process for yourself on how you're going to communicate with people following the open house whom you have contact info for. And a lot of people, they're like, yeah, I reach out and then I never heard from them again. I'm like, oh, how many times? Oh, once. I was like, great. You need like 8 to 10 to 12 purposeful touch points after an open house if you really want to develop those people. Now, if you're busy enough and you're good, cool. That's great. But if we want to take advantage of this and really onboard people into our stuff, having those things ready to go. Now, how do you get it started? This is where if you prepare in having a lot of value that you can share, specific value, and it doesn't mean you need to have booklets prepared or anything like that, but just the knowledge of how to get things like, hey, this home's in a very, very good school district. There's likelihood that there's going to be a lot of families coming through. They'll probably want information about the schools. Mm-hmm. Now you could print stuff, or through conversation, you find out what type of schools are important to them. And you say, hey, would it be valuable to you if I were to share some information about the school district? I can send you some links. I can send you some stuff that I already have prepared. Or if you need to go research, you say, I actually already have some things that I can go research for you. I'd love to send it to you. And now you are offering them a piece of value based on what you've been talking about. And they're likely to say, yeah, that would be great. Fantastic. Well, what would be the best email for me to send it to? Oh, fantastic. And what would be the best phone number also to just kind of shoot you a text with? I can send you some text. You can look at this stuff right on your phone, right? And I'll get it done for you right after I close up here today. It gives you an immediate value-added touch point with someone that then onboards them onto this journey. Most people just think, oh, I'm going to thank them for the open house, which you should do, and then keep asking them if they're still interested in that house. If they haven't told you they're interested, they are not interested. And so we don't need to continually say, hey, remember 123 Main Street? I've done it, okay? And this is terrible because I didn't know any better. I've done it. I've contacted somebody months later. Hey, remember when you came by 123 Main Street? Are you still interested? Because it's still available. Like, oh my gosh, talk about scarcity brain.
They're like, do you know why I was interested in that house? I was driving down the street. I had a little free time and there was an open house sign. That was my intense interest in that house.
I was hungry. Thought you might have some cookies, was actually really disappointed that you didn't have any snacks. But thanks anyway. Thanks for the bottle of water.
But Matt, you talk about getting the contact information so you have things to follow up. And I think in our world, we're very comfortable giving up our contact information. I do it all the time. We order things online. It says, hey, I need your email address. I need your phone numbers. I need all your stuff. And we type it in absolutely happily. And yes, we do get to check the box that says, I do not want spam from this person. And I do not, that's not what I'm looking for. But they have something of value that I need, that I want. Yeah, and exactly. When you go through an open house like that and people are coming in, you got to sit there and say, can I ask enough questions to learn the things that are important to them and what they're looking for? And then from there, have some basically pre ready to go stuff behind the scenes. That's like a list of the schools that I can give you in the area here, a list of vendors and people that as you're moving towards getting your home ready for sale, maybe they don't want you to have to come by, and be in their house, but I'd be more than happy to send you a list of the top vendors in the area that I personally use and some of my clients use for painting and drywall and electrical and all these things that you might need as you're getting your home ready for market. Yeah. I think there's those places you can have that ready to go stage stuff in the background so that you have that value that they can be like, that would be awesome. Great. Let me get your contact information.
You're getting their approval before the contact. With the traditional open house, you walk in, you have to put your information out. Like, why do you need my email? Oh, because I'm going to send you some stuff. I don't want your stuff.
Because I'm going to spam you.
Right? Until you're like, would you like this stuff? Yes, I would like that stuff. Great. What's your contact info? It's the same thing, only now you're just reversing the order so that it actually provides value. Gosh, if you live in an area that is like a second home market or a place where people move, like Charleston's a great spot. A lot of people, oh yeah, we're in from out of town. Oh my gosh, where are you from? Oh, blah, 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 blah. When are you thinking about moving? And you get into the whole conversation. It's like, hey, you have so many options to go. Hey, would it be valuable if I connected you with an agent up where you guys live? Would it be valuable? Have you guys checked out the downtown district, the restaurants? I would love to send you a list of some of my favorites if you'd like that. There's so many opportunities to share value with people if you get into the conversation, which I know we didn't get into a lot of strategies on that, Garrett, today, but I think most of our listeners are pretty good at that. Most people are pretty good at having casual conversation. I mean, yes, you might have to get past the awkward phase of like, I'm an agent at an open house, I'm standing here and this person's coming in. They're feeling the awkwardness too. So just have fun with it, right?
And I would encourage anybody to listen to this is like, first off, what is the intention of the open house? And I think there's a lot of people that are doing it because it's a real estate activity. That's what I'm supposed to do. It sounds good. I can say it to my listing. We're going to do an open house and we're checking the box. And you're right. They're like, okay, when is this thing over so I can go watch the game? That's a very typical mentality. And then I'd say, okay, well, what if I expanded upon what my acceptable results were from this open house? Well, one is that I want to meet a lot of people and I want to connect with a lot of people. So we're going to put that down. I want to see how many sellers I can walk away with, people that are potentially need to sell a house to be able to buy a house. And I'm going to know that by, let's say, out of this open house, my goal is to set 2, 3, maybe 4 appointments to actually go and see people's homes and do a net sheet for them and do a breakdown and help them understand what they need to be doing. Set some intentions of what this time is that you're going to be there for. And then when you're there, know, okay, these are my goals. These are the goals that I'm here to be able to do. And a lot of times we just don't even have that. Or we actually accomplished the goal. The goal was to appease the seller. They really would like to have an open house. We did it. We checked the box. And now we've just spent 3 hours of our weekend.
And I think too, sitting on top of the intention of like, I love the intention of we're going to get appointments, right? The intention of I'm going to get, some names of people that I can follow up with. And my overall intention is to help people, leave here with value. And even if, because yes, people do buy homes that they go see on open houses, or it might be their opportunity to have the second showing, which of course will add value to the seller. It also adds value to those buyer agents, right? And that's okay. I think sometimes we get hesitant of like, oh, I don't want to add value to other agents. How amazing is it that you get that another agent out there who probably is just as stressed out as you are, is getting a few hours off while their buyer comes in and tours this home, and you can tee it up for them by taking amazing care of those buyers so that when the agent prepares an offer, they're like, this is awesome. I sent a buyer to an open house and now I get to write an offer. And the listing agent is Garrett, who's the coolest dude in the world. Man, home run, right? And if you have this intention of this, you're going to bring good energy to that open house too. So at the very least, you're going to have fun. The people who come in are going to have fun. And at best, you're going to get appointments, new contacts of people to connect with and build relationships with and add to your database, and maybe even sell the house.
Well, and one little added piece, Matt, I'm going to add on to this, which is number one reason most offers get accepted is realtor to realtor relationships. And you have a whole group of realtors in your marketplace. And if you get a chance to actually learn a real estate agent that they're working with, and you take great care of their client, and you follow up with them after the open house and say, hey, I got to meet Matt and Jen Bonelli. They came through the house today. Such nice people. I gave them a little bit of information. They mentioned they were working with you. And I just wanted to follow up and just say, be like, super nice people. If there's anything that I can do to help you guys out, let me know. You've now built a bond with that person where they're like, okay, I can trust Garrett. I know that he's not going to try to steal my clients. And when that time comes to write an offer with Garrett on the other side of it, all of a sudden they're going, I feel like this is an agent I want to work with. And all of a sudden you have leveled up the opportunity of that offer getting accepted. So again, it's an thing that we don't pay attention to very often. We look at it as like a waste of time almost. It's really important. Build those realtor bonds. That's where a lot of deals get either accepted or shut down. Yeah, you all know those really agents when the offer comes across the table and you're like, oh gosh.
Been there. Well, Garrett, I will say too, I'd love to hear what y'all's strategies are with open houses. If you have certain things that you think work really well for you, head over to YouTube. You could drop them in the comments here if you're listening on audio, or download our app on your app store, because we post our podcast episodes inside there. Free, make a free account. You can comment on the episode and let us know what your open house strategies are. And if you're looking for a good ways of communicating and understanding, like, how do I build in my routine around communicating, not just with people who've come through my open house, but my entire sphere? Garrett and I built the engagement engine just for that purpose. So you can customize how you develop your routine around communication that actually then creates conversion and success in your business. And we're doing a free webinar on it, April 17th. So just go to 10tenths.co. You'll see a banner. You can register for that webinar. It'll be on April 17th. It's totally free. So come join us. It's going to be incredible. We would love to see you there for it. And with that, Garrett, gosh, I mean, anything else that you wanted to toss in here before we let people go on their way?
Nope. I think we covered it. Set the intention, have some goals with it, be real, tear down walls, make people feel comfortable.
There you go. Don't tear down the walls of the house, just the walls that
tear down the walls of the house. No, yeah.
The other people, but guys, because like when at the end of the day, your business should fuel your life, not consume it. And we hope that you got some good value out of this. If you did, share it out, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks, everyone.